hello to everyone who's listening in. First of all, I'd like to ask you, John, thank you very much for being here. Can I ask you, who are you and what do you do?
Sure, thanks, Heather. Well, I'm the founder of the Best Practice Business School, which is our vision is to one day be regarded as something like Australia's own pragmatic version of a Harvard for small business. And we've started out initially focusing on the accountancy and advisory professions at large, if you like. And our goal is to build up a stable of globally talented and accredited advisors to help small business owners. And that's been running since 2011. There's about 600 accounting, bookkeeping participants or firms, if you like, in Australia that have been through our program since then. And we also have assisted buyers and sellers in terms of growth and succession planning for nearly 20 years now, and close to 130 mergers or acquisitions or buy-sell transactions, primarily in the accounting space. And now, of course, expanding to try and help accountants and other advisors to better scale their own core business and then their advisory offering as well.
Sounds like you have quite a comprehensive educational program there. Thank you for sharing that with us. So how would you describe your area of expertise?
That's really an interesting question, because I am told by accountants and others that in the professional services world that I tend to help them to unlock their own limited thinking from time to time in terms of the way they approach their traditional business models, and to build scalable concepts into their thinking and their fundamental belief system primarily, that then we can go and build that. So, business by design instead of business by default. And my time with Jack Zenger in my 20s and early 30s was sort of life-changing for me. He was a Fortune 500 guru, still is today, still live and kicking, a wonderful man. And so I guess I learned a lot about leadership, culture change, continuous improvement, productivity improvement, those sorts of things. And let alone client attraction strategies, marketing, and vertical development of niche markets and so forth. So yes, we have a fairly comprehensive offering, and our goal is really to turn that into something that is quite holistically embraced as a platform for better guidance, mentorship, and business advice skills, not just for professionals, but for the benefactors being, small business owners themselves.
So what excites you about what you're doing and what you've just shared with us there?
Sure. I guess what I wrote about in my book, which is called The Entrepreneur's Guide to Business Mastery, is a discovery that I believe I documented the things that the Bransons and the Packers and the Murdochs and the really famous surnames in business have systemized, so they kind of all do the same thing. They might do it in different industries and different personalities at the front of that. But really, if you look behind the scenes, what they've built can be built into a model that you can replicate in any industry from any size right from starting out. It's just going to take some time and effort, obviously. And so what I love personally is witnessing those little micro moments when an accountant or a business advisor actually, a light bulb comes on. They actually get it. They see something working for them or making sense. They try it and they make a micro step forward. And I know in the scheme of things, that can be fundamentally substantial. It can alter their entire trajectory into business advice and in terms of their own self-confidence and self-belief of what they can then go and do. So I just love those little moments where I see the lights come on, and I know sometimes they will look back on those in the future and say things like, my goodness, that was a turning point. And, there've been thousands of those over 25 years or so, which to me is like a drug. I live for that.
Very good. I like that term, micro moments. I always talk about it as 15-minute chunks of time, or 15-minute break everything down into tiny, tiny steps. But I like that sort of that micro moments of actually moving forward in all directions. So What will people hear about when they're attending your sessions or attending the Accountants Big Day Out?
Well, I guess if we focus purely on the vision, the purpose and the values of ABDO, because as its founder in Australia, that's what this is about. So our intention is to be regarded, or our vision is to be regarded as the most dynamic and valued occasional event series for the public accounting profession. And because of our integrity, our authenticity, our irregularity, we will always leave our attendees wanting more. So it's really not a vendor-driven product flog. It's not a sales pitch. It is an event, by the profession for the profession. And I guess that's the vision of the brand of ABDO that we're looking to create. And our purpose is fundamentally for that big day out is to, and I'm reading from the website and our MVV, our mission, vision, values. And our purpose is to provide education, disruption, information and inspiration to the public accounting profession and the advisory profession at large. So we want to share knowledge, expand our collective consciousness of the entire group, including ourselves, that such as you, Heather, and others that have agreed to come and contribute to that. So we all want to learn and grow. That's what we're thirsty for that as in our space of what we do. And so continuous improvement, learning to innovate further, push the boundaries, particularly, dare I say, for the 80-20 rule, the 80% of professional services practitioners that really aren't at the cutting edge. They know they have to stay relevant and they're really not super confident on how to do that. Well, this event's really for them. It's identifying the top 5% and dragging them out of their busy lives and getting them on stage to collaborate and share and inspire the 80% about what they really should be embracing. And even if they already knew it, giving them practical touch points that they can then walk away with game plans and action strategies to actually go and do that and say, hey, I now know I can do that because I'm flesh and blood just like these people on stage. So that's really what it's about, So valuable, ethical contributors, getting their input out there, sharing that, learning and growing together for mutual gain. And hopefully the greater good of the customer, because when it's all said and done, over 90% of small business owners worldwide tend to physically, this is a statistic of and I can't say first world countries without that disclaimer anymore. That's a bit naughty now. You've got to think of everyone inclusively, but the best data comes from the more mature countries that have a first world infrastructure. And what we've found is about 90% of the small business owners will fail in that particular initial entity before their 11th anniversary. So that's a huge failure rate. How can we fix that? The governments really don't know what to do. The politicians aren't small business masters. The banks, well, they're not motivated necessarily to drive massive disruption and change. So really it's down to the advisory profession and we need to come together and better support, nurture, grow and guide and push small business owners in the right direction because they don't know what they don't know. And if we don't know what we don't know about doing that more effectively, we're not going to be much help to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's all about providing and educating them with sort of data-driven decisions and that sort of that holistic approach. And I do like the fact that you talk about it as being an irregular event, leaving them wanting for more. So do you have any tips, John, for people attending Accountants Big Day Out to ensure that they get the most out of the event?
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I'd be doing is bringing your most practical form of note-taking with you, whatever that might be for you. So if you're old school and as I can be, and I love to oscillate between spiral-bound notebooks with, biros or ink-related pens and touch typing on my laptop or iPad. So, whichever one's going to suit you, but make sure you're juiced up, charged up, and you have full note-taking capacity. That's going to be the biggest thing because there will be so much information and with such an amazing panel of 16 contributors and those people really only having their best 10 minutes of their contribution, self-selecting based on their core expertise. What can they rant about for 10 minutes on the 6 hot topics of technology, talent, efficiency, advisory, growth or succession. And all of our speakers have nominated their top 3, and based on their number 1, they've been corralled into what they really can speak about underwater. So I guess there's going to be so much opportunity then in the breakout panels as well, Heather, to rub shoulders with in small groups, talking about your fears, your frustrations, your concerns, and your implementation woes of the past as well, and getting each panel will be actually walking through and coaching and providing support tactically through the day. So I guess that's the part that I'm most excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it is a really impressive lineup of speakers, and I'm extraordinarily grateful to be considered amongst that, but a very impressive lineup of speakers and talent. John, finally, how can people find out more about Accountants Big Day Out, and how can they connect with you?
Thank you for that. We have a traditional accountantsbigdayout.com.au website for the event. It's a standalone website just for the event. It rotates each year or biannual, or whatever it is it every second year?
Irregular. We're going with irregular.
And we've only this afternoon also signed off on a detailed version of the agenda as well, prior to you and I connecting. So we have a lovely, substantial event PDF now, detailed event. It's got a full agenda for the day, learning activities in there. So we'll set that up, and you and I will make sure that particularly your followers can access that online, download it, and register directly, or contact us to do that. And there's online registration forms so that we'll follow up with people if they want assistance to do that. Now, NAB, as of Friday last week, have underwritten every second ticket that any individual firm purchases. So it's half the cost of attending, from $495, 50% off now. And we've had so many firms today contacting us via the online form and saying, give me 5 at that price, please, et cetera, et cetera. So
fantastic.
We'll make sure your group can follow, find that as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today, John.
You're welcome, Heather. Thanks for the opportunity.